Hey guys, it's Hillary from Cross My Arts Creations. This is my last week taking over your Tuesdays in Kelly's group. I want to thank her so much for the opportunity to do that. I I had so much fun making these videos, and it just really connected with me to make videos to show other people all these different things with crafting. I hope you really enjoyed the videos as much as I enjoyed making them for you. I know because I had so much fun doing them, I will probably be doing something similar in the future, some sort of tutorials or whatever. I haven't worked out all the details yet, and I would love to hear what you thought of the videos, and be sure to like and follow my page, Cross My Arts Creations. I'll be posting the link below so that you can easily connect with me. Making a little cup cozy that you can put around your coffee cup, or in this case, it's on my reusable water bottle here, and this one that we're doing today is themed for St. Patrick's Day. However, I really like making cup cozies. Once you get the hang of crocheting, they're pretty easy to do. They're pretty quick, and you can change out the colors and the little applique that's on it and make it so you can style for any occasion. Personalize it with your favorite colors. Put like a heart on it for Valentine's Day, a star. You could do a little rainbow, whatever. And because they are so quick to make up, they really do make some great gifts. If you do crochet a lot, they use up small amounts of yarn. So if you have some extra yarn that you're not sure what to do with, this is a great project to do them. People feel intimidated by crochet. Like to them, it looks very intricate, and so I think that intimidates them, that they just say, oh, they shy away. But once you learn like a few things, it really isn't that hard. There's basically a few stitches, and everything after that is just grouping of those stitches, and that's what's called the pattern, is the grouping of the stitches. But like this, these cup cozies, they were just a flat piece of crochet work that we then joined together. So let's get right into it, and I'll let you know what you need to make this cup holder. First and most important, you're going to need a crochet hook. For this one, you are going to want where is it hiding? There you are. It is an H or a 5mm hook. Also, you may not want the hook that I'm using is a bit more ergonomic, so I do a lot of crochet, so it's a little bit more comfortable for me. But I highly recommend, let me see here in my bag of goodies, when you're first starting off, to go with a hook, an aluminum hook that looks more like this. You got the flat part there, as you can see that as I rotate it, and that's going to help with your gauging your stitching. We'll talk about that later, so don't worry too much about that now. You're going to need some scissors to cut your yarn, a yarn needle. Mine is metal. You can also get the plastic ones. They work just as good. And your yarn. We're using white yarn and green yarn. You don't have to get like a big ball of it or anything. Now, because you're just starting out and you're trying to figure everything out, I would recommend sticking with the yarn that I used for this pattern, just because different yarns can be thicker or thinner and work differently. I'm using Red Heart Super Saver yarn. I'm doing that in the white and the green. If you didn't want to do the white and green, you could change it up. Like maybe you could do like gray instead of the white. That's totally up to you. Just go with the Red Heart Super Saver, and that's pretty much sold anywhere you can get yarn. I do not recommend doing black though, because it is so dark. It's really hard to see where your stitches are, and if you're just starting, you're gonna struggle. And finally, it's not absolutely necessary, but highly recommended, either a ruler or a tape measure. So we're going to be doing like a little sample crochet and just measuring to see if we're on track. So once again, I'm going to talk about the pattern. If I was doing this for myself, I would probably do more of a spiral pattern to eliminate the seam that's on it. But I feel like for beginning, that might be a little bit hard to connect it. So we are doing it flat instead. You're just going to crochet one long rectangle, and then we'll join it together at the end. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to use my white yarn here, and I'm going to hold that in my left hand on my index finger like that, and I'm going to wrap it over, and you can see it almost makes an X. So wrap it once to make a loop and over to make an X. So now you're going to take your crochet hook in your right hand, and you're going to go under both loops here, and you're going to turn. You might need a little help with some of your other fingers to hold these loops, and you're going to turn and pull that back loop through the front, and at this point you can take it off and tug down. It will make a knot. You'll know you did this correctly if you can pull one end and it will make it loose, and the other end one end will tighten it and your other end will loosen it. I just want to show you that again. So hold on to it in your index, over your index finger, and yarn over and make that X, and you're going to pull your hook through both and take it through the back loop and bring that back loop through the front loop, and now take out your index finger and pull up. You can do the same knot without the hook if you don't feel comfortable, just by using your fingers. I'm going to take your yarn and your index finger on your left hand, you're going to wrap it over once, and you're going to wrap it over a second time. So now you're going to take the one piece and pull it over the other, and then you're going to take the other one and pull it all the way off your finger, and that's going to create what's called a slip knot. So there's multiple ways to do a slip knot, so if you know another way that you're comfortable with, you can go ahead and do it that way. So what you can do, you'll notice then if you were to stick your crochet hook in here, and obviously you don't want that much room, so you can pull one end to adjust it, and if I pulled that too tight, I can pull the other end and loosen it a little bit. And that is our slip knot. Every crochet starts with a slip knot. Okay, so we've done our slip knot, and we now have it on our crochet hook, which is in our right hands. I'm actually lefty. You are a lefty like me. I'm doing this backwards for you, so I'm doing it in my right hand. Now, the tension is something we want to talk about. The tension is how tight that loop is around your crochet hook. So right here, I would say, like, you probably can't see too well, but like where you can just, there's just a little bit that you can slide back and forth on your hook. That's a good amount of tension. You obviously don't want it or it's super tight, especially when you have these, I don't know if you can see, the hook is kind of angled, so it's thinner. It's actually thinner in that spot there. It's tapered hook. And so if you do that, your project is going to end up way small. And if you have like that really tight tension, and you might come to a point where you're finding it hard to work into your loops. On the other hand, you could make it really loose and like have it just where it's just, and you don't want that either because then your project's going to be huge. Now the hook I'm using, it's like more, has an ergonomic grip on it. So I've been crocheting for a while and I kind of have an idea of how to gauge my project. Now if you're just starting, this is how I was taught to figure out, this is a little tip I was taught to figure out how to gauge things. And so if you're just starting, I recommend just these plain aluminum hooks and see how they have this. They have this flat part in the middle that's also kind of angled, just, it's hard to see on the camera, but it's just ever so slightly thicker, goes out a little bit. So when you're just starting, you want it so that your hook can slide over that fairly easy, but you can't really see see through your loop too much, maybe just a little bit. And that's like a good rule of thumb of how to gauge your project. And then, so if you pull it and it's too tight, then you're, like I said, you're going to have trouble working in those loops. And so I'm just going to show you the difference here. Here's a project that's 30 stitches by 7 rows. And now I did it really tight compared to the same 30 stitches, 7 rows that I did really loose. So as you can see how much difference there is. Like, it's about 2 more rows higher than the smaller one and several inches bigger at the end. Like, we could almost wrap that over. That's how much extra there is. So that's why tension is really important. A lot of your patterns will talk about a gauge test. I am going to bring that back up later since I haven't showed you how to chain and do our stitch. So I will come back to our gauge test after we have done the chain and the stitch. This is my 5mm H hook. Now to make a chain, and like the first one is always like the trickiest because it wants to move around on your hook. So I just kind of hold it a little so it doesn't move around too much, and make sure you're using the long end of your yarn and not that tail. That's just the piece of yarn that we started with. So you'll always hear them say yarn over. What they mean is take this piece of yarn and wrap it from the back to the front. And now you have 2 loops on your hook. But then you're going to take your hook and you're going to twist it so that you catch on that one. And some people hold their hook with their index finger. I'm holding mine up a little bit higher. That's how I do it. And pull that, slip that one loop over the other. And now this is your first one in the chain. So once again, yarn over. So you're taking the yarn from the back to the front and kind of holding between your thumb and your middle finger, those other ones. And now you're going to take that, pull that loop that you just wrapped on there through that chain and up. That's your second chain. Now once again, you're going to go yarn over, and my tension's getting a little loose on me. And that's 3. So we're going to do this. We're going to make a total of 29 chains. Okay, so we've gone ahead and you should have made your 29 chain stitches. Remember that that slip knot doesn't count towards that we made at the beginning. So that was where you started, and each chain that you made from that slip knot should count towards the 29 till you get to the end. And now we're going to be doing what I call a half double crochet. So for that, you're going to yarn over, and then sometimes this gets a little tricky here with the at the end, but now this is your I'm going to not yarn over for a minute so that you can see a little bit better, but this would be your first hook, and if you went through that one and worked into that one, you would just be pulling out that stitch. So we typically, depending on the pattern, start with the second chain. Alright. So not that first one, but the second one. So remember I said we were doing a half double crochet. So before you go, I want you to find that second loop and identify it. And once you've done that, then you can do your stitch, which is yarn over from the front to the back, and then go through that second chain, and this first stitch, like where you go from the chain to the first row, is always the trickiest. So don't, if you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is a lot of trouble, I don't know how I'm going to do this, you know, just relax. We'll get through this together. So then you take that, you yarn over one more time, and that's going to hold that into your hook, and pull that through the first loop, through that second loop, and the third loop. And sometimes it takes a little finagling to get through there. And then, so I am going to go ahead and show you one more time. So I'm going to pull mine out so I can show you again. So if this is my hook is on the 29th crochet, and there's the first and there's the second loop. So I'm going to yarn over and go ahead and get it through that loop of the second crochet. Whoops, I had a little slip up here, no pun intended. So yarn over and hold it back there, and then through that second loop, for a second chain from the crochet hook, then yarn over again, and I hold this with between my thumb and my index finger, twist, and I kind of use the index finger to control that working end of the yarn. So I catch that yarn on there and pull it through that first loop, and then pull it through, turn it and pull it through the second loop and the third loop. So now we used 2 of our chains on that one, so now we should have, instead of 29, we should have 28 stitches across this row here. So I will show you the half double crochet again. So you hold it and yarn over, and then you pick up your next loop, which is the next chain there, and then yarn over again and pull that one through all 3 loops. There we go. So that is your second half double crochet. Again, it's yarn over, pick up your next chain, go in the back of your crochet hook, and then yarn over again. And I just use my fingers to kind of help me so that it doesn't slide around. And pull it through one, pull it through the second one, and the third one. Okay, and then yarn over, pick up your next chain, and yarn over again, and then go through all 3 of your loops. And if your loop falls off, you can always just put it back on. Sometimes that happens. Okay. So once again, yarn over, pick up your loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3. Okay, I'm on my way across the row here, and it's going to take some time to crochet all of these. So remember, you should be counting your stitches. So you want to count all the way down, and your last one should be 28. I will see you at the end of this row. In my video, I mentioned a gauge test, and you didn't know the stitches, so I wanted to wait until I taught you those stitches so that I could show you how to do the gauge test. So a lot of them you'll see something like 10 crochet by 2 rows will equal this amount of measurement. This is where your tape measure would come in handy. Ours, we did 28 crochet, half double crochets, and so then you would just measure and see. We want it right around 9. So yep, I'm right around where I want to be here with this. And then you also want to measure the height. This is 1 row, and we are right around 3/4 of an inch, which is also right around where you want to be. If it's not perfect, that's okay, but you just want to try and get it as close to those measurements as possible. So about 9 inches by 3/4 inches tall for 1 row of 28 half double crochets. Okay, so we are back. We are at the end of row 1. And to get to the next row, we are going to chain 2. So remember, our chain was yarn over and pull it through. Oops, my hook slipped out there. And that was chain 1. And chain 2 is yarn over and pull it through. And then we are going to, it slipped over again, virtually turn this whole thing over, and you get the next row. So then you're going to do your half double crochet again. So you're going to yarn over, take it through that first loop, and then yarn over again and pull it through all 3 loops. And I am going to go ahead and finish this out and meet you at the end of the row. Okay, I'm back and I am at the end. I've done 27 stitches. Now, if you were not careful and you weren't counting, you may think you're done. It looks like there's no more places to put your crochet. It looks like there's not another 2 loops there. What you're actually going to do is you're going to be going and working that in here, which is the chain 2 from the previous row. If you don't do that, you're going to end up, and you're not counting carefully to catch that, you're going to end up losing a stitch there. So I want to, in my demo that I did earlier, where we did the 2 loose one, you can see I purposely started leaving stitches out, and you can see how it goes, and your project slowly gets smaller and smaller. So you want to be aware, because that is one of the common beginner mistakes that people will make. We've gone from row 2, we finished that, and we're on row 3. I just want to go ahead and you're just going to continue down the same way, 28 half double crochets in the same manner that we've been doing. Taking up our loop and then yarn over, and we're going to pull them all through, and we are going to be doing a total of 7 rows. So you can just go ahead and crochet to the end of row 3, chain 2, turn 28 more the other way, and so on until you reach the end of row 7. I will meet you back here once we all get to the end of row 7. Earlier in this video, I also mentioned that I was a lefty, and that I am doing this video mostly right-handed. Just to show you guys, I know a majority of the population is right-handed. If we do have any left-handed viewers out there, let me know. Throw me a hashtag lefty so I can see that there's some other lefties out there. And so basically, if you were left-handed, all you would need to do is you hold your hook in your left hand and you work the yarn with the right hand, and you would just be crocheting in the opposite direction. And it's you can see, I am having a lot smoother time and I'm working a lot faster than I am while doing it right-handed, just because this is my more dominant hand and I typically crochet left-handed. The only thing you do have to be aware of if you're doing something that is a pattern, especially something like they call them graphigans, you will need to look at your pattern, and because you might need to start at a different place on your pattern or reverse it. Okay, I have finally finished and got to the end of row 7, and now just I wanted to compare them. This was the loose one with the dropped edges. Here is my one that with the proper stitching, and then here is the itty bitty one with the too tight tension. So if you can see, if you lay them all together, I have all the edges and bottoms together, so you can see how much difference there is between the 3 of these and how much that tension really is important when you're crocheting something. And you will also find out later with other projects the size hook can also affect this. But for now, for the beginner, all you need to worry about is that tension. So I'm going to go ahead and put these other 2 aside here. Yep. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it over in half so that those 2 edges meet up. And all I'm going to do is I'm taking this hook through the corner on both sides of it, and you also have that loop, and you're going to find your yarn here. Make sure that it's in the proper place, unlike I did before I started there. So you got both edges, and then you're going to take that yarn and wrap it over and pull it over both of those, and that is called a slip stitch. So you're going to go ahead and join this entire edge together with the slip stitch all the way down. You don't have to worry about counting at this point, just kind of getting it in there, and as long as you're not like going like way down here to join it, or like a couple stitches in there, you want it at the edge. So those ones that are the crochet to the chain 2, yarn over, pull it through those and that extra loop that's there, and then go ahead and find the next place where you can stick your crochet hook in, and go ahead, yarn it over and pull that through right there. So essentially we're using that slip stitch to sew this shot. Okay, so we finished the white, and we put the white yarn aside, and we're going to grab our green yarn in our left hand and our crochet hook in our right hand, and we're going to work a border on here, and we're going to do this by working each of our stitches across just like when it was flat, we're using this top row here of all these stitches from the previous row. So to start that, you're going to take your green yarn, put that on the back, pick a spot to start, put your hook through that top stitch there, and holding both pieces of yarn, pull it through, and now let go of the tail and wrap just the working end around the crochet hook and pull that through, and see how it wants to keep coming loose, so you're going to have to tighten that onto the, and then adjust your tension there. And then I like to do another loop and pull, so yarn over and pull through a second time here, the loop, so you basically made a chain. And of course this is going to keep, this end is just going to keep wanting to loosen up for now, but I will show you how to. So now we're going to go into the next chain and pull through here, and we're going to yarn over and take that, put this, so you want to make sure the tail is over this crochet hook, but we're not pulling that through. So you catch that, the one that you yarned over, and pull that through your loop, so that kind of makes it grab on in the back. And so this saves some time, especially me. I hate to sew, and I hate sewing in my ends, so by doing this you're sewing the end in as you work. If that's too complicated for you, you can just ignore the tail and deal with it at the end. So now what I'm going to do, I pulled that through and I'm doing a single crochet. So that was the first part of the first step of the single crochet. So you're going to yarn over again and pull through both of those loops. So now I'm just going to let that tail go just to show you the motion for the single crochet without complicating things. So if you were not doing that, you could just yarn or stick your crochet hook into the next stitch, you can yarn over and pull that through, yarn over again and pull through both loops. And of course I lost my loop. There we go. And so we're going to go ahead and do this all the way around, and I will meet you back where we started. So now we're meeting up again, right back where we started. As you may notice, I did my row left-handed, but it's going to be the same way. Yours is just you're going to be coming this way instead of going this way. So yours, you're going to have your hook over here, and you're going to do the slip stitch, so you'll have your yarn on from your working end on here and do your slip stitch. So if you remember, the slip stitch is just taking the hook and joining the ends in. So I am going to go right into this loop right here, and wrap the yarn over and pull through both loops. And now that has joined them together, so it looks like one continuous row. So now you're going to leave yourself maybe like 4 or 5 inches of, for a tail to weave in, but to finish it off, you're going to just take this crochet hook and pull so the tail comes through, and you just have a string hanging on. And so now you're going to flip it over and ignore your tails that you have from the white. And or if you really wanted, you could be adventurous and try to weave those in while you're crocheting as well. I'm not even going to show you that because that's probably going to be a little bit too complex for the beginners there. So you're going to go ahead and same thing. I will show you right-handed. And you're going to get your yarn and you're going to pull it through and then yarn over and pull through again. So you have another chain, and then you're going to go ahead and go into the next loop and go all the way around doing your single crochet. So you go into this loop, yarn, make sure I have my working end because you don't want to do that with the tail and then you come up short at the end. So yarn over and pull it through, and then yarn over again and pull through both of those green loops that you had on your hook. So then the next one, yarn over, pull it up through, yarn over, pull through those two loops on your hook, and you're going to do that all the way around and get to the end and do your slip stitch. Okay, so we've done our crochet border around both sides and slip stitched. So just like the other one, after you do your slip stitch, you leave like a couple inches, maybe 4 or 5. I mean, it doesn't really matter exactly. Take your hook and pull that sucker through. Now go ahead and toss that aside. So now the next step is to make the shamrock applique. We're doing that with our green yarn. I do apologize because the magic circle is a little tricky for me doing right-handed, so I'm actually going to be doing it the opposite, even though I'm telling you. So for you, this will all this yarn that I have in my right hand, you'll be doing this in your left hand. So take the yarn into your hand, put it in the palm, hold it with your pinky, and then wrap it around once. And then take it, and as you're wrapping a second time, make that X, and you can kind of rotate to the back of your hand and pull that the back loop there. Come on now. And like, I know this can be tricky for a new crochet person, and pull it through, and now you can carefully take it off of your fingers, but just be very careful, and then yarn over again and pull that loop through. So now I'm going to do a single crochet into this circle. So basically we're working around this circle, around both strings of the circle in that direction. So for me it's left to right, for you it's going to be right to left. So you're going to take your hook under the circle, or kind of through the middle of the circle, and then wrap the yarn over and pull that yarn through. And so now you have 2 loops on your hook, and you're going to yarn over again and pull through both. And now that's your single crochet to start your shamrock. You're gonna chain 2, and do a double crochet into the circle. So to do that, you're going to take your hook through that center of the circle again, but first you're going to wrap yarn over and then take it through that center of the circle and pull the yarn through. And this is the part, like I said, this is going to be the hardest part of everything. If you get this, then things will be easy for you. So now that you have, with that last yarn over, you have 4 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you're going to take it through 2. That first loop, you're going to take it through 1 and 2. So now you have 2 loops left on your hook, and you're going to yarn over again and pull it through both. And now you are going to do what's called a treble crochet. This one's not actually used very often in crochet. The crochet, a lot of what you'll see is chains, single crochet, double crochet, half double crochet, but the treble stitch or the triple crochet is not used very often. For that one, you're gonna wrap yarn over once and twice, and then take your crochet hook through the center of the circle and pull up your yarn. And now you're gonna wrap it through again, or yarn over again. So now at this point you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 loops on your hook. So you're going to take that one that's closest to the end of your hook and pull that through 2 of your loops. So now you have 3, and yarn over and pull through 2 more. So now there's 2, and you're going to yarn over and pull through the last 2, leaving you with just the 1 loop on your hook. So now we're going to go back to doing a double crochet. So yarn over, go through the center of your circle and pull up. And now we're going to yarn over again, and we're going to pull that through 2 of the loops, like so. And now you're going to yarn over again and pull through those. So you might see how they're spaced out kind of weird right now. That's okay. Towards the end, it will work itself out a little bit better. So now you're going to chain 2. 1, 2, and you're going to do a single crochet into the circle. So you take your hook through the center and pull a loop up, and then yarn over and pull through those 2. So now you've got that, and you can kind of hold on to your circle with your thumb and your index finger and kind of pull your stitches together tight, so you can kind of see it kind of round. It starts to round out a little if you pull it tight. And so now we're going to leave that one go, and we're going to start the next petal to the shamrock. So we're going to start that one with a single crochet. So take your hook through the center of the circle and then pull the yarn over and pull that through, and then wrap your yarn over again and pull through both. And now you're going to do the chain 2. So yarn over and through the yarn over and through the second time. And now you're going to do a double crochet. So that's yarn over, go through the center of your circle and yarn over again and pull that through. So you've got the 3, yarn over again. And so you're going to take that and go through 2 loops. So you have 2 left on your hook. Now you're going to yarn over and pull through both. And that's your double crochet. So now we're moving on to the triple crochet. So remember, that one is similar to the double, except for you're wrapping twice. So yarn over once, yarn over twice, go through the center of your circle, yarn over again and pull that through the circle, yarn over again, pull it through 2 loops. So you have 3 left on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through the 3rd time. And that's why it's called the triple crochet, because you pull through 3 times versus the double where you do it twice. So now we are going to do another double crochet. So yarn over and pull it through the center, and yarn over and pull that back through, and yarn over, and you're going to go ahead and pull through 2 of the loops, yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. And now we're doing the chain 2. So 1 and 2, and now we're going to do the single crochet onto the ring. So go from the center, from the front to the back, and pull up your yarn and wrap it around again. So yarn over and pull through the 2 loops there. Now you can adjust your second petal here a little if you want. And we will start the 3rd petal. I'm only doing, just because of the size of the cup and the way it kind of looked when I was playing around with the pattern, I'm only doing a 3-leaf clover. So we're doing that last leaf now. So we're doing a single crochet. So take your hook and go through the center and pull that yarn over through, and yarn over again and pull that through, making your single crochet. Now you do your chain 2, 1, yarn over 2, and now you're going to go into your double crochet. So yarn over once through the center, pull the yarn over and pull that through, and you're going to go ahead and wrap the yarn over again and pull through 2 loops, and you got 2 left, yarn over, pull through those 2, now onto the triple stitch. So yarn over and yarn over again, pull or go through the center and pull or yarn over, which it kind of just naturally goes into that position, and just pull that through, and then do your yarn over again and pull through 2. We've got 3 loops left, so yarn over and pull through 2 more. Got the last 2, yarn over and pull through those last 2 loops. That was our last treble stitch or triple crochet. Now we're going to go do our last double crochet. So yarn over and through the center and pull your yarn through, yarn over again, pull through 2 of your loops, and yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. And now we're going to go do our chain 2. So 1 and 2, and now we're going to go through the center of the circle and yarn over and pull that through. So you have your 2 loops and yarn over and pull that through. So now you've single crocheted your last leaf, so you might want to, now's a good time to kind of adjust your final leaf, like any spacing how you want it. And now you're going to see that your circle still has some space left in it. So this is the beauty of the magic circle. So I'm going to just toss the working end to the back here and just try and get a really good view of the circle here. And so these is part of it, and you take this, and all you gotta do is make sure that you don't lose your working end here, but pull on that tail. As you pull on the tail, the everything starts shrinking up. That circle gets smaller, and look how it's a cute little shamrock with a little circle in the middle. And you can just I don't want to do too much because you can't see with my big fingers in the way, but adjust as needed to make the shamrock leaves cluster together the way that you want them to. So now that we've adjusted the circle and you've adjusted your leaves how you like them, I'm going to take that loop and you're going to adjust your tension, make sure you have your tension good, and do it through, I want to just make the circle just a little bit smaller here, the base of your shamrock here, so it's not just floating in thin air. So pick up a loop and slip stitch, and now I'm going to chain 4. So yarn over and pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over, and 4. So now we've got our cute little shamrock here. So now the hard part is done, but like I said, I really hate sewing, so this is the part that I dread. But if you want your tail just a little longer, you could even go and do another chain there. Do 5, and it can kind of curve when you sew it down. But you want to make sure that you leave this time a really large tail, because you are going to be using this to sew all the way around to attach your applique. So you snip that end off when you're sure you have enough, and pull that all the way through. So now we finished our shamrock. We are ready to sew everything on, so we're going to bring back our good old friend, the Cup Cozy. So now any of the ends that you didn't work into the project, you're going to have to sew all those in. So you know how it goes. Go ahead and thread your needle with that piece of yarn. I always try and wrap the yarn around and kind of flatten it before sticking it through. I find it makes it a little easier. And then just go ahead and keep in mind when you're sewing, you probably won't, I like to sew in the opposite direction, so I don't want to like wrap it in so it's pulling, or excuse me, I don't want to sew it the way against the way it was going when I was crocheting. So you can kind of see that it wants to go this way. But I also like to sew it in on the back so you don't see it as much on the front. So you can go ahead and take that and see it kind of wants to go through here and then and go through. So just make sure you're not going wild and going through and sewing the green through and weaving it into the white. So that's not going to look very good. So I'm going to go ahead and stick it through there in that green loop, and then I'm just going to get down to the base and go along the base here on the back. As you can see, this is the outside of your project, and you're not really seeing anything coming through. Alright, well, I'm doing that. Why don't you guys tell me what you think of this video? Do you think it feels intimidating, or do you think this is something you could try, or you would be interested in trying? And I know that this is the end of our Takeover Tuesday series with Kelly, but what else would you like to see made into a video? I really enjoyed doing these videos, so well, it might be a bit much right now to do like a weekly tutorial like this. I'm sure this is not the end. So go ahead and put in the comments what you'd like to see as a tutorial, or something that you might want to make. I'm always curious to see what everybody else thinks. Sometimes if you're working your ends in, or even weaving them in after, you come up with just this little piece that's just a little fluff sticking out there. So you just want to do your best to cut as close as you can. Sometimes I just tug it just a little, and so I can cut it, snip the end off, and then pull it so it tucks back in there. And you can't see it. So now I've finished the easier seams of the two to sew in, the green ones. Now I think it's going to be a lot easier to sew if I put it back on the wrong side, since we don't want to see that seam. And so just when you're doing this, you just want to look around and see where it best is going to fit. So it looks like I can just like take it and go through these stitches here on this row. Obviously, I would hope that you would not want to put it on this seam that we have already, because that's gonna make that thicker and stand out a little bit more, and we don't want that. The whole point is to hide it. So I'm gonna go ahead and work in the white seams. Okay. Finish working in the white ends now, and we can go ahead and flip that back the correct way, and find that seam there, that on there, and put that in front of us. To save some time, I worked in that that tail that came out of the magic circle in the middle, and now we are going to work on our applique and sewing that on. So this is where you're going to get to have a little bit of freedom, so you can decide how you want it to lay on there. Do you want it to kind of curve? You can have it like that. If you want to have it straight down, you go ahead and do that. And you can decide which side looks best to you. That's like your personal preference. I think I want to do mine just with a little angle there, and have the little curved piece. So when you're doing this, you want to make sure that you're not sewing. You can go through the one layer, that's okay, but make sure that you're not going through both layers of your cup cozy, or else you're just going to sew it together and have a flat piece in the end that you won't be able to use. So I have threaded my needle here, and all you're going to do is sew around to hold it in place. Alrighty, I have gone ahead and sewn all the way around, and I still have my excess yarn attached, so you can just go ahead and weave this in a little bit on the back. And then once you've done that, you can trim your tail and you're done. And there you have it. You have a cup cozy. Ta-da! And you did it yourself. Did you ever think that you'd be crocheting? There you have it, your crochet cup cozy. I hope you enjoyed watching this video today. I hope that you're not as intimidated by crochet as you might have been. And I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting these videos on Kelly's page. Thanks, Kelly, for giving me this opportunity. I had so much fun doing this, and I really hope that you enjoyed the tutorials, and so that you could also create your own projects. Be sure to follow my page, Cross My Arts Creations, because I will be doing a lot more in the future, and you don't want to miss out. Thanks. Enjoy your Tuesday.